dinners and conversations with people in the Earls Court community. Many of you may have come across her in the past. She's also the founder of Touch Love Worldwide, which is a very inspirational philosophy and book that she's published. And it is a real honor to have her with us today. She has been a supporter of Committing Arts and a Poetry for Grenfell family member right from the beginning. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the wonderful, charismatic, inspirational, soulful, love-filled Harriet Gore!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Princess. Princess has been very inspirational, and the reading I'll do today was created because she invited me to write when I had no intention to write. I appeared today as love, the love energy of all who have gone, the love energy of the earth itself, the love energy that we all are. I'm going to read the philosopher's thought. I'm a philosopher, and my writing is at page 116 of the first edition, and it's just about what was going on in my mind. And I have wondered whether it's relevant to read it to you today, but there is no other place to read it, so I'll read it. How can I tell you? How can I tell you to wipe your tears when I haven't wiped mine? It is not the failings that draw tears from my eyes. For fallibility is a human condition and characteristics. It is not the failure to listen that keeps the tears flowing. For obstinacy is a human condition and the characteristics of diversity. It is not anger that I feel, for my well of deep is flowing out reflections. The depth of depths no shallow can reveal. Everything was so perfectly aligned and allied for the most devastating catastrophe. The weather, the time, midnight, and other factors. Like a natural disaster that was unnatural. Like a forest fire that was in a city. Like a shipwreck happening in a block. When it is death, sometimes questions appear. Why like this? Die too young. Oh, why now? Who has the answers? Who knows the answers? No answers, no. Except that tears keep flowing. At first, I cried for the dead, their dreams and hopes and aspirations. Then I cried for the living, for the tears shed for the dead. In every tragedy, it is ourselves we cry for, even when we cry for the dead and for the living. The dead do not need our tears. It is us who need healing. It is us who need our tears. The healing water which empties into the ocean of grief to resurrect and to water and to moisten and to make fertile the heaving soil, to germinate seeds of hopes, dreams, and aspirations which the dead have become. The manure which sprouts spring when the first rain falls. The dead do not know they are dead. This is a consolation. Like that deep sleep when consciousness is lost and all become nothing until consciousness returns. It is the living who know they are dead and cry for ourselves and feel for the dead what the dead does not feel. The dead are sleeping seeds. They are spreading scents. They are evaporating into you and I and the space around. The dead have become the air we breathe, the words we disperse. They have expanded into the expanse nothingness. They have become the seeds which will germinate when the first rain falls. Is this a consolation? A consolation for the dead or for the living? You see, beloved ones, death is part of the story on earth. The story earth tells about life. Life is about death. Death is the destination of life. Once born, the destination is death. Death happens just like life. Life is born just like death. Life is about living until death happens. Life is about occupying, engaging, serving, entertaining, and feeding all our senses as best as we can until death happens. Each death happens in its own way. Death is death. There is no uniform way of dying, just as there is no uniform way of being born. Some are born by cesarean section, and some are born legs first. Some are born short, and others born long. Some appear with hair, and others appear bald. Some weigh 3 kg, and some 5 kg at birth. When it is birth, joy appears on some faces. There is no one perfect time to be born, just as there is no one perfect time to die. No uniformity in birth and none in death. Each appears uniquely and disappears uniquely. Each enters this space in its own way and exists as circumstances create. The present here is a story. The earth is a place of storytelling. There is a life story and there is a death story. Some beginnings are exciting and some end in intrigue. Some live quietly, some live with a bang. Some lives are brief. Some lives are long. What do we know? Except to question. Who knows the answers? Who knows why the flowers appear when they do and drop dead when they do? Life is a story, telling itself in its own way. Birth is part of the story, and so is death. Some deaths are dramatic, some peaceful, and some are earthquakes appearing on the landscape. Volcanoes too, and storms and sea wrecks. That is life. The life of a story. The life that is a story. I am listening to the sound when there is no sound except the sound of this. The thought that when entries are made into this space, many do not ask questions about the appropriateness of the entries, but when exits are made, many questions become born and appear to be asked. I write not to give hope, for I have no hope to give. I write not to give comfort, for I have no comfort to give. I only write to exhibit the me unseen and reveal the conversation I have been having with myself and the stream of tears which have become tributaries, the rivers of trails warming their way through. So how can I tell you to wipe your tears when I have not wiped mine? How can I tell you that all will be well when what was can never be is? The many lives lost, a community in pain. Property can be replaced, but can new take the place of old? Those who have gone, can they return? How can I tell you to wipe your tears when I have not